Hello, good morning, everybody. This is Greg Robertson from WNR Studios. We're the makers of Cloud CMA and the Cloud Agent Suite. I want to welcome everybody to today's webinar. It's called If You're Not Staying Connected with Your Sphere, Somebody Else Is, which is very, very true. Been looking forward to this for the last month or so as the planning has been going on, and we had a rehearsal here early this week. And that went really well, so I think you guys are in for something special. With me today is David Anderson from LionDesk. Hello, David, you there?
Hey, Greg. Hello, everybody. Good morning and good afternoon. It's great to be here, and just so everybody knows, I'm the CEO and founder of LionDesk, and like Greg said, super excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Super excited, and we're going to get into this in a little bit here. But first, I want to talk about some housekeeping things. As many of you know that attend our webinars, it is being recorded and it will be sent to you after. So you can take some notes or not, but we will have it for you after for reference. And you'll get an email with that link. Also, we're going to have a Q&A session at the end. And if you have, you can actually submit your questions during the webinar so you don't forget. But we'll kind of like, tally those up. And then at the end, we'll kind of answer those questions towards the end of the broadcast here. So please feel free to kind of test it out now, and we'll get to those questions at the end of the broadcast. So first things first, I always like to start off with with a few poll questions, a quick poll. So we're going to ask our first poll question from the audience and see what kind of response we can get down here. So let's throw up our first poll question if we can. All right. Do you currently use a CRM? Right. So yes, a little bit, not at all, and what's a CRM? So why doesn't everybody go up there and kind of vote on one of those things? Answer that poll question, and we'll kind of take a look at what our audience is looking at right now. All right. Looks like we're getting some results in here. Okay, and we need a drum roll. But it looks like yes. Okay, so about half are actually using one. Only 4% want to know what it was. So I can tell you from my experience, David, everybody confuses CMA with CRM. I don't know if you get the same thing over there, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah, and then there's a little bit and not at all. So it looks like 15% are not using one. So I think this is going to be a great webinar for them to do that. So let's we got two more questions. Let's go to the next poll question here. Do you currently use texting to stay in touch with your clients? Select the one following. Yes, sometimes, by request only, and no, right? So this is interesting. I mean, I know, I'm not sure about you, David, but like I put on my mobile phone, my outgoing message says, please don't leave me a voicemail. Just text me if it's important.
Oh, yeah.
I've got 41 messages in there, and the only problems I have is like one of them's my mom. She'll still leave me a voicemail, and I'm like, I left you a message a week ago. You haven't called me.
Oh, yeah. I never check my voicemail, rarely anymore. And you're right. It is my mom that still leaves me very long voicemails.
Let's see what else here. Okay, here comes the results. Yes. Okay. Look, this is not surprising. I mean, everybody's texting nowadays.
Yep.
Number 3 is interesting. Not a lot of you are the whole by request thing. I think that's maybe one of the things you'll talk about, David, as far as permission-based marketing kind of things or best practices with text. I know it's one of the subjects we're going to talk about. All right, our last poll question. This has been good. These are good insights here. How often do you reach out to your past clients? So select one of the following: weekly, monthly, A few times a year, annually, or never, right? Let's hope it's not the last one, but come on, everybody, be honest. Let's make this
Be honest.
here.
Yeah.
Monthly or weekly, monthly, a few times a year, annually, and never. Those being the questions or the selections here from the question.
Yeah, Greg, I'm going to compare this. I'm going to compare this with actual data that we have inside of LionDesk at one point.
Oh, cool.
You know, to see if everybody's telling the truth, because we can actually see how many times you're reaching out to your past clients.
Interesting. I'm going to say a few times a year is going to be the most popular one. That's my guess. Okay, here it comes. The anticipation is crazy. A few times a year does get the best. It's in the 50s there. Weekly is least, and then never is still at 4%, and annually is up at 12%. So it's such interesting data. That's great. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some good good insights here to help us get started. And I want to talk about you guys a bit here, David. I mean, you have kind of I know based upon our previous conversations, you've got an interesting background. I mean, didn't you spend some time in Taiwan? Is that correct?
China, mainland China. I was
Mainland China,
over in Beijing. I lived there when I was in college, going to school, studied Chinese, and then actually went back for my last company, which was in the travel industry, to open up offices over in Shanghai, and had an apartment and lived over in Shanghai, and was negotiating joint venture deals with state-owned enterprises on the travel side.
Oh wow, that's got to be weird, huh?
It's interesting. One of the conversations I had, we were all at dinner, and I'm like, how, it was a technology that we were licensing out, and I was like, how are we going to get everybody to use it? And the guy was sitting there next to me. He's like, oh, don't worry, I'm on the Shanghai Tourism Board. We'll just make it a law in order to get your cruise license. And I was like, oh, okay, well, China.
No, yeah, let's make CRM a law and CMA a law in the real estate industry. How about that? I love that kind of state involvement, right? That's fantastic.
I mean, it was for real, man. It was for real. It was an interesting time, that's for sure. A lot of fun, though.
So previous to this, you being in real estate, you were in the travel industry. Is that correct, or you had a couple different gigs?
Yeah. So got into the family travel agency. It was a brick and mortar, and this was back in '99, actually. And then determined, because my dad and my uncle were the co-presidents, and told them both, I think the internet's going to be a big deal. They're like, well, what we're doing is working pretty well, so you can start something. So I started a separate subdivision of the company. Long story short, the internet became a big deal. And so everybody was buying their cruises and tours online, and grew the company dramatically. And when I left in 2013, after about 14 years there, we were like the number 1 or 2 sellers of cruises in the world. And now, obviously the travel industry has taken a huge hit with what's going on, but I'm hoping everybody gets back to traveling at some point when it's safe. But after I left that company, I started following my sister around, who was a real estate agent, going to open houses. Mm-hmm. My stepdad was actually a mortgage broker forever. And my dad was he was a real estate agent when he was 18, and a broker when he turned 19 or 20. And so I've been around it forever, and then kind of put LionDesk together for my sister, for the agent to automate, stay in touch. We were ahead of the curve on a lot of the texting stuff, video. And so, over the course of the past 5-ish years or so, it's just a matter of continuing to listen to what our clients need, build on integrations, right? Like we have with Cloud CMA and some new products you guys have, and just making it easy for people to connect everything together and stay in touch with their clients, so that, it's not just 1 or 2 times a year, it's, continuous. So they're always coming back and they're always thinking about you.
Yeah. And that's interesting. I mean, that kind of your origin story there, that really matches mostly with kind of what I would call an OG kind of founder story or vendor story, where, I started in real estate software back in '92. And at that time, it was exactly kind of what you're describing, where, maybe this agent, was a new agent. She would go out there, start selling real estate, and maybe her husband worked over at IBM or something, and she would come home and
Yeah, I was talking to our CEO yesterday. We catch up every evening, and we were thinking about, 5 years ago, 4 years ago. I mean, we had 30 clients at the beginning of January of 2016, 32 paying clients, right? And by the end of the year, I think we had something like almost 3,000, 2,900 and something, right? And so it really, the growth was natural. It was out hustling. It was talking to people. It was getting out on like the social, like Facebook stuff. No VC money, right? I mean, we basically would do a promo to get the cash flow to fund the marketing for the next month and the development for the next month. And it really was, so my grandpa was an entrepreneur for years and years, and I learned a lot from him, right? And nowadays, I mean, it's just up until 45 days ago, it was pretty easy to go say like, well, here's a really good idea. Give me a couple $1 million to try this thing out, right? And it's not easy. I don't think it's easier one way or the other. It's just a different set of problems.
Yeah.
Whether or not you've raised money or not. And the goal for us is not, let's raise a bunch of money and let's get out of this thing. It's like, how do we make really good products that people like to use that they're going to tell their friends about?
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the model.
Yeah, and everybody, I think they confuse that. They have all these stats and KPIs and everything. It's like, it's pretty simple, if, make a product that people want to pay for, right? And there's a lot of business models out there. There's a lot of other things out there, but I mean, if they don't want to pay for it, then, either make it better or make it to a point where they want to pay for it. Yeah. And,
and it's constant.
I see, another thing that I recently read is that you made the Swanepoel T3 most powerful people in real estate.
One of the most. I think I'm number.
Yeah,
I think I ended up being number 148. I think you're on that list too, though.
Yeah, I'm 149. Thanks for saying that. So no, you're like a rocket ship going up to 148 so quickly. That's fantastic.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun and doing what we're doing. And I think the best part about this industry, it's not things like that, right? Which are great. I think it's a testament when we get something like that. I know you feel the same. It's more of a testament to our team than it is really for us.
No, I don't feel that way at all. It's all about me, David. It's all about me.
I don't believe that, man. I don't believe it. But it's fun, right? I mean, we love what we're doing. That's the whole point about this is like, we've got drive, our team's got drive. We listen to our clients. I was on a Facebook message this morning at 5:30 with a guy who's one of our clients who just pinged me talking to him about some ideas, and it's fun. This isn't a short-term game for us. It's like, how do we continue to make this better and better and better, and have a lot of fun while we're doing it? And I think that's what all business is. Real estate agents don't get into business because they don't like it. Like, they like selling homes and they want to make some money doing it.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So let's do this. I've been in sales most of my entire life and always had a love-hate relationship with CRM software. So why don't I turn it over to you, because I know you've got some stuff to talk about LionDesk and how it can help help others here. So I'll surrender the presentation here to you here to get started with your presentation.
Got it. Let me know if you can see my screen. I think you guys can see my screen. Yes, yes. Just want to make sure. You got it, Greg?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, great. So yeah, so the whole idea of this, of chatting about this, right, is about like how to keep in contact with your past clients, how to use automation with personalization, right? And so connect, communicate, close, that's one of our taglines. And so I'll get right into it. I've only got about 10 slides here. One of the things I like to say is that this industry, we don't have a leads problem. I mean, there's so many leads coming in from Facebook, from your referrals, you know, from your Sphere, from Zillow, like all of these different areas are coming in to generate leads, right? And so if you look at it, if you get 10 leads a day, by the end of the week, you got 50 leads you have to follow up on. So compound that by a month, right? And you've got a ton of leads, 200 leads that have come in. The problem is that without automation put in place, there's no way you can follow up with this stuff, right? You got to pull a rabbit out of the hat to do it. And so what we have inside of LionDesk, and a lot of you have a CRM and you have these technologies, is sending out messages that are relevant, right? So when a lead comes in specifically from Facebook, say, hey, I just got that Facebook lead. That should be automated. It should happen right away. This is one of the drips that my sister's created. You can say, hey, first name, thanks for contacting me, and then she put a video text in there, right? And I'll go into that of how that works a little bit at the end of the slide. Followed up by emails, followed up by some more text over the course of a week. You know, she's just reaching in touch with the client. Most agents, most salespeople are going to give up after the first or second try, just statistically. We see it in our system as well if they don't have the automation set up. That's why people use a CRM, right? Because they want to be in constant communication with their clients and be effective at it. So the example, right? We put the poll question up. How often do you stay in contact with your clients? This is a very simple one. OMG, I can't believe it's been years since you moved in. Did you renovate that bathroom yet, right? Did you do something? How's everything going? Like, it's easy, right? And by the way, you don't have to do this manually. You just set this up inside of LionDesk the second you close that client, and this message will go out in a year. You're going to get the message back, communicate with the client, great, right? Pretty simple.
So are those, I mean, how do you feel like, you know, some agents would say, you know, and I guess, you know, I probably know the answer to this already, but, you know, you want to strive to be authentic as well, right? You want to be able to kind of do these things yourself. But I guess, like I said, I'm answering my own question here, is sometimes you fail at doing that. So there's nothing wrong with giving you a reminder or doing something to kind of cause something to make that interaction happen, right? I mean, do you have agents that feel a little bit like, you know, unauthentic or something, you know, using a tool, using tools like this, or how do you answer that?
That's why you got to use personalization, right? I mean, that's why when you have a conversation with somebody, we can't remember everything, right? I mean, 90% of what we learn is gone within a week after watching a webinar, for example, right? And so your clients forget you, they forget what you do. I mean, how many times have we heard, Greg, agents say on a forum somewhere, you know, my neighbor down the street or my friend down the street just put an open house sign up. They knew I was a real estate agent. Why didn't they reach out to me, right? Right. Like, it's constant. So, you know, you're either going to be afraid of sending out the communication and be like, well, I don't want to bother them, or I'm not authentic if I do this. On the other hand, send something out, there's nothing to lose, other than the fact that the person's going to get back to you and say, like, actually, you know, no, we didn't get that. You know, don't bother me anymore. Okay, you know, hope everything's going well. Like, you know, that's the worst case scenario, you know?
Yeah, and I remember, you know, going back to that kind of first thing you talked about, where the industry doesn't have a lead problem, they have a follow-up problem. That really resonates with me. I remember in a previous company that I was working with, we had got the contract to do the portal for this large franchisor, right? Huge franchisor. And they were going to be one of the first portals to put actually all the listings online. You know, previously they would frame out realtor.com. So this is a while back. This is like early 2000s, mid 2000s. And we set this thing up with like, where people could go to the site, they could search on the listings, and then there's a call to action. Hey, I want to learn more about this. Basically everything that's done now, but this was like one of the first sites to do that. And it took us a long time to build this thing with all the lead flow, making sure that the leads were routed to the right broker correctly, doing the searches, all that. And I remember setting up a kind of a war room, and we flipping the switch. We're going to turn the site on to see, how many people were using it, right? And then we flipped it over, and it went to the new platform, and then we started seeing leads, start piling up. People were using it. They were, searching for property. They're asking questions and everything else. And then, obviously it was the first thing. There was a lot of things that we wanted to make work better. Some things were buggy, but it was working. We were getting leads, and we would have these quarterly meetings with the head of the team over at our customer, the franchisor, about the site and how it was going. And we were like ecstatic. It was just a ton of leads being delivered through here. But one thing that we found out was like, I think it was like over 80% were not being responded to.
Yeah.
Right. These leads were not being responded to. And like, so we were going on, we had this kind of data, we kept track of this stuff, and we were going to those meetings, and we're like, okay, well, this is working, but hey man, you got to get your agents to follow these things up. And we'd walk in these meetings, they go, well, we want this button changed here. We'd like this one to be over here. This should do this and that. I'm like, hey, time out. What if I walked in here and I told you I could increase your, the number of leads by 80%? Would you should we like focus on that problem first? But for whatever reason, that's not what anybody wants to focus around. They want to, if we would just answer the leads we get, if we would just keep in touch with them, the leads we get, I think it'd be just a tremendous thing for the whole industry, for sure.
Well, the industry and all of us, right? We spend billions of dollars combined as a real estate industry generating new leads. This is why Zillow has a company, right? Yeah. It's also why Zillow started their concierge service, because they saw the same thing. They were giving leads, nobody was being followed up, bad consumer experience, right? I know brokers that are spending a ton of money, and they're like, we need some automation in here, right? Like, how do we get these leads followed up? The ISA business is all because of the lack of follow-up that comes through. And I get it, right? As a salesperson, you've been a salesperson, we want that hot lead. We want the one that's going to respond to us, right? But the problem is there's still a ton of gold in your database that you can just mine and keep mining and mining and mining with a lot of this automation, emails, text messages, right? Follow up with the video and just let it run. And then when the client responds, take it from there, Right. And so it's, theoretically, it's a simple problem to solve. It's just a matter of, the engagement and a lot of the, the setup of it. And we just try to make that easy by like, here's some default templates that you guys can use.
The irony of Zillow having to create their own concierge programs because the agents were giving them a bad reputation.
Yeah.
Right. And, we always talk about how Zillow's trying to take over everything, and they're the bad guys. Just right there. It's amazing. As you said, really, really, I think a strong statement about we have a follow-up problem, not a lead problem, for sure. Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
Sorry,
correct.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but go ahead.
No problem, man. So interrupt anytime. I like wrapping easy on stuff. So inside of LionDesk, really simple, right? You can run a filter over here. Text received. This is stacked, so you can say, show me everybody who's visited my site in the last 30 days, right? That I haven't sent an email to, that I haven't contacted. Save the filter, and then it's very simple. I hid some of the data in here from inside of the system. And here's a real message that my sister sent out, Sheila, right? Got a couple of emojis in there. Client responded back. She went back and forth, tagged in the preferred lender. Imagine trying to do this, right? Like, it's easy on the one-on-one on your phone. Like, it's real easy, right? But I have problems trying to like scroll down just a little bit on my phone to figure out like, okay, what was that conversation I had? This is why you have to use a system, right? Because it's going to manage 10,000 clients as easy as it's going to manage 100 clients, And so getting these things in place is really not that difficult. Next slide. So here's some things, right? You talked about writing stuff down. Who should you be contacting, right? Who should you be texting? And again, we want everybody to follow the rules here, right? There's TCPA rules in place. Don't buy a list of clients and upload it and start texting them. Like, don't do things that are going to get you in trouble, right? Those are obvious things. SOI, past customers, new leads, old leads, referral partners, your other agents in your database, right? We offer a phone number with a LionDesk that our agents can buy, right? It's a local area code. That's the number they use for texting. A lot of agents are now using that as their MLS contact number, right? And putting it on their business cards, because everybody that calls or texts that number gets a profile created in LionDesk, and we pull up the name, some social profile information, and we load it up. So again, they have all of that information without having to retype everything, right? It's all about efficiency.
So it's a separate phone number that's tied to your LionDesk account that captures that information, then puts it into your LionDesk CRM.
Correct, right?
Yeah.
So so we're not able to text from your cell phone, for example, because I'd be able to text your wife, and that's not a good thing, right? So we set up the separate number, and then you can use it also for short codes, right? Sign writers, text sold to this number. That's a data capture tool, right? And that's all included. So tie it in with emails, right? 6 times greater rate. The email, when you combine with calls, so your email open rates are going to be higher when you're saying like, hey, I just shot you an email, right? On the email, you say, hey, I'm going to shoot you a text message as well. Sandwich marketing, right? Give them a call. And so as you're doing these things, and it's all automated, it's all preset, your clients are going to have a much higher open rate. And I think the statistic is, 98% of text messages are read, right? Versus the average of 10% or something of emails, So don't you want a 9 times greater read rate? Pretty straightforward.
Okay, so let's break this down a bit, because we have our own questions within the company about this. So a lot of times, we have our own clients, right? My own sphere of people in the industry or whatever else. But let's just talk about, an agent. So they met somebody at, let's say at an industry event, started building rapport with somebody. They exchanged contact information. Because they had mentioned, we like our house, but we're looking at maybe Palm Springs to down the road to do that. What's the line between a day later, a week later of, is it copacetic to text them right away? Is it should you first kind of send a nice meeting you email? There's it's like a dating etiquette in a sense, right? What is the, from your, you do this for a living here. What are you hearing are best practices on that thing? Because you don't want to go to the creepy side too quickly, right?
No.
And what is, and nowadays, I'm a little bit out of touch with what's the proper etiquette nowadays? Because I look at some of this stuff when I get, I'm like, why are they texting me? Or why is this? Who is this person?
Yeah, correct. So you never want it to be who is this person, right? And what we see that works really well is when you meet somebody, right? So you met somebody, like you said, it's at an industry event, or maybe it's at something else, an open house, right? Text them and just be like, hey, it was really great meeting you this afternoon. Would love to help you out, right? Hit me up anytime. That's what we would normally do in any other situation, right? Don't be like, hey, here's a list of homes, right? Why would you want to do that?
So is that an immediate thing? Right after you meet them, just if you got their phone number, just shoot them a text.
I do that.
Right.
I remember the first time I met you, and I was like, who's this guy who, is up on stage? And I was like, this was 4 years ago, right? Maybe 5 years ago. And be as you would in person, right? Via the automation on the tool. That's it. You don't want to just start hammering with hey, here's this new thing, here's this new search, how's this property, you haven't built rapport, right? There's stages of the sales cycle. You got to build the rapport first, you got to build the trust, and then you can start selling things, right? No different via the automation. It really is.
Cool. Okay. Thank you.
Cool. So, and I wanted to say this, but white does more. Video text, right? AI, we talked about the text to sell shortcodes, right? So the video texts are actually really impressive. Again, utilize a video. They see you, right? They remember you versus 2 days or 3 days later, if you send them, be like, great meeting you, they've already forgotten if it was a brief meeting, right? Put the face to the name on the text, and it's like, oh yeah, cool. I do remember Sheila. That was a great conversation. And so how does it work? There's Sheila. She sent a video. When your client gets this text message on their phone, they're going to push play. It's not a link, right? Nobody likes clicking on links on their phone. It's spammy. It could be a virus. Everybody hates it. So what we developed is actually, just like you sent a video from your iPhone to your client, to your friend, same thing happens here. It plays immediately on their phone. You can see it wiggling around over there. That Sheila, hey, just sent you an email with update live link and new construction. Here's a quick hello from me. That's it. Like, make it 10, 15 seconds.
The case. I mean, again, I have no idea what the etiquette now, if that's just people sending videos to each other, are kind of I guess that's social media in a sense, right?
Social media, right?
She doesn't have bunny ears on her, but I mean, it's, kind of the same thing, right?
It is social media. I don't like doing a lot of videos personally. It's just me. I should. Our director of marketing yells at me all the time, do more video. But I think you also have to put it in perspective, right? So let's talk a new lead that came through from Zillow. That client has submitted or will submit multiple leads to multiple agents,
So
right?
it's differentiation.
Differentiation. Yep. So when you get that and they're like, oh, a little video and here's what my agent looks like. It doesn't matter what you're saying. They may be busy, but they're going to see you, and whether or not they push play or not and can hear it, it's all about the differentiation. That's, like, oh, the iPop, like, oh, cool. Like, they took the time to do this. Hey, I just got your request off of Facebook, right? Would love to help you out.
Right.
And like,
no, I see that. That's smart.
And you can set these things up for every different lead source so it seems personalized. Another quick tip, open houses, right? Create one video of you in your office and says, just wanted to say thanks for coming to my open house. It was really great seeing you today. Would love to help you with anything. Use that one video for every open house client that walks through, right?
And you can set that up to happen automatically in LionDesk. That's
Correct.
great, dude. That's cool.
Yep. Okay, so integrations, right? We talked about this. So Cloud CMA, Greg's got a great product. Our whole thing inside of LionDesk is how do we get it so that you can connect all of your tools together, communicate with your clients effectively, and save a lot of your time, right? So instead of you having to spend hours and hours managing your database and switching back between your tools, your website, Cloud CMA, right? You can do things inside of LionDesk on V1 right now, which is our original product. We have the integration coming soon on our new product. And then that CMA is saved, right? That PDF that gets created by Cloud CMA is saved on that contact profile. So you always have the history of it inside of the CRM, right? So
that's great, because I know that a lot, that's why we like to put on these partner webinars, is that anytime you can get tools to work together, I mean, it's a good thing, right? I think most agents are like anybody else. We all want stuff. We're all a little bit lazy. We want things to work for us, and they're all connected, and so we don't have to go to different places. So we really appreciate the integration that LionDesk has done with us, and I know we got some stuff in the future here to come too.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the whole idea, right? Like, how do we? And we talked about this originally, right? How can I create a tool for my sister, for her friends, where they can tie in these different tools that are great, right? Keep them automated and not have to worry about logging into 5 different things every day to see what the heck is going on, right? Like that's the goal of a CRM, is to tie these integrations with. So you don't need to be tech savvy to do this, right? There's a lot of agents who are tech savvy. There's even more who aren't. It's pretty easy. You can increase your awareness by doing the texting. You're going to save a ton of time. That's what it's all about. You should be spending your time selling, right? And working on your business instead of actually in your business on your CRM, right? 10 minutes a day is really all it takes. Try things. And then again, on the integration side, communication all in one place. We know everybody can do it. And this is what Greg mentioned, future integrations. He and I were chatting about this early this morning from LionDesk, creating HomeBeat. And I know you're going to go over what that product is for Greg. It's a great product. And what I'd love to see is having that type of integration. So again, saving time. You don't have to retype anything in, and it uses HomeBeat, tracks everything in it together, all inside the CRM. And that's it. Last page. We got a promo, liondesk.com/Cloud CMA. You get 30% off your first month off of both of our plans. It says Pro Plus, but there's 2 plans on there. And that's it. I hope everybody gets to try it out. And it's easy. We load you guys up with some text messages. You can try it, text your spouse, see how it works, create a little video. And you're going to see very quickly how it can increase your conversion so that you don't have to worry about always paying for new leads, right? When you already have a database of 200 or 300 people that you can start slowly communicating with.
Yeah, I mean, as they say, most people are doing business with the people they already know, and it's good to focus on that, which is a great segue. If you could kind of transfer the screen over to me, and I'll talk a little bit about HomeBeat, and we'll go back to talking about Cloud CMA and the integrations you guys have. So I appreciate that. That's a lot of great information, David. And just to keep in the theme with what we're talking about here about keeping in touch with your sphere, we launched HomeBeat last year around October, and it's been a great hit. We've been contacted by a lot of our agents to create a product something like this, right? And the reason is, and this is a favorite vendor statistic to throw out there, that according to NAR, when people are interviewed after they've kind of done a transaction, 90% of them say that they would use their agent again, right? That's a high satisfaction rate there, but in reality, only 12% actually do. And the problem is that most agents fail to stay in touch, and this is exactly going with what LionDesk was great at, between the buying and selling of homes, right? So we wanted to create something that would help the agent keep top in mind and stay top in mind with their clients or previous clients out there. And this is something we've experimented on a lot of different levels. We actually did this pilot test where we would mail printed CMAs to a certain database and see how that went. But digital is so much easier and so much easier to kind of set and forget that we went that way. So we've created a beautiful interface, so simple to use, and I'll give a quick demo of this as we get here of how to use HomeBeat to stay in touch with your past clients. And what it does is it sends this kind of side-by-side comparisons of what's happening in the neighborhood, right? It's not really, we call it like automated CMAs, but anything automated is not going to be perfect. So this is mostly just to keep them aware of what's happening in the neighborhood. And then later on, you can follow up if they request it with a full CMA. The first thing when we first started, we were thinking of like, well, what if we just email the PDF, a link to the PDF that Cloud CMA creates? And we thought, that's probably not the right solution. We wanted to keep it digital because these PDFs are more of a formal document. This is something you want to take with you to a listing presentation or as a leave behind. So that's why we went to the route of keeping something very, very, very digital, right? So if you go into your Cloud CMA account, you'll see on the top of here, it'll say, CMA, buyer tour, property report, and of course it says flyer as well. But now there's a new kind of tab up there, a new link. It says HomeBeat. So when you click on that, you'll have one button if you're just starting out that says create a home beat, right? So when you create a home beat, it pops up this modal. You'll put your client name in, the email address, the address of their property, and then we link it up with a tax database, so it'll automatically, if we can find it, the square footage, the beds and bath, and you can of course correct that. And then you set it up to be delivered either quarterly, or I think you can go monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, and annually, right? So you can set these things to, once you set up it, you just let them fly and they start working. It's like putting it on autopilot. So once these are going, when you first create them, it'll send out an email. It'll say, hey, Mike, here's your side-by-side report is ready. It'll give them a brief overview of what's available, what that market looks like. There's 2 homes for sale in your neighborhood. In the past 3 months, 7 have sold, 29, it's taken an average of 29 days to sell. They can click on to kind of compare their home, and it gives a little bit of a brief information about the total market as a whole. And if you look here, I love this look, this side-by-side comparison we've done. Your house here is on the left, the subject property, and we compare and we can show how far off, square footage, or like in fact, this one has one more bedroom or bathroom than the subject property. So a really quick and easy way of your clients, your past clients, to keep in touch with your past clients. One other thing, a few other things that it can do for you is that if your home details are not correct, you can, just click on this incorrect data and actually fill that out, and you'll be able to correct that data and make sure that everything is correct on your side. And then the nice thing is that if you look here, we got a big call to action that says start a free home valuation. So when your past clients are looking to move again, right? And as they've been receiving these home beats, they can see how the market's going. When they actually click this and request a full CMA from you, that's a great signal to know that they're interested and they're ready to kind of getting closer to list. So it's a really, really great way of staying in touch with your past clients, right? So as I said, it puts everything on autopilot. It helps you stay valuable with your past clients. Unlike some other stuff, it incorporates your branding to do that. I know and have talked to David about some of the integrations that they're doing with LionDesk. So one thing is the actual reminder email can be sent out of LionDesk. It can be your own personalized message. Another thing is you can set it to be however, the frequency to whatever you want. You can change the welcome email, right? You can do a lot of things, the way that our API is driven for third-party software applications like LionDesk. They're going to have a lot of control that's going to be able to feed into their version 2 of LionDesk that I think you really guys are going to love to put in there. So I would really, if you can, I think David and his team have put together an incredible offer. If you go to LionDesk.com/Cloud CMA and save that 30%. We also have with HomeBeat, if you want to just start getting started with that right away, you can. And you go to cloudagentsuite.com/HomeBeat and you can start that and try HomeBeat free. So you can try it free for 30 days. So I know we'll be putting some links in the chat that you can look at and start clicking there. But David, I think this has been fantastic, and I really appreciate you sharing, especially some of the insights having, that I know you have running a CRM business. And I think this is a good segue really to go to some Q&A.
Yeah, I love the Q&A. And, the integration points, the whole idea is you get that contact, right? You've got that you've sold them. Like, why not have a campaign that just launches on everybody when it's sold that uses HomeBeat, that you just have a default template set up? And I think that's the type of stuff that our two companies are going to be able to work on, throughout the year, where it just automates all this stuff for you. And then, as an agent, all you got to do is just get back to your clients when they reply back on things.
Yeah, and I know with our integration, with just HomeBeat itself, you can see when people have last opened their HomeBeat. You can see when they last responded to it. So it's really kind of gives you some insight to what's going on out there. But I'd love to open it up to some of the webinar attendees to any questions they have. So if you want to put those those questions.
Yeah, we have
into
one
the chat.
question. First question, what does CRM stand for? Client relationship management, contact relationship management, right? So client remembering management, like it's all about, the contact, the relationship, and managing that all together. And that's CRM, right? I mean, there's a lot of CRMs in any industry. And, the most important thing is just using one of them, right? Obviously, we'd love to use LionDesk.
And it's a great time right now to start sharpening your saw, as we've got a little bit of downtime sometimes to start implementing a CRM, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's working on automation. You and I were chatting about that earlier this morning, right? It's like, what can you do to lean back a little bit, right? Take a perspective on what I need to do in order to automate my business so that when things turn around, I don't have to be catching up and scrambling to figure out, who my buyers and my sellers are in my database. It's done, right? So now's the time to organize.
Right. So we got one more question here for you too, David.
What MLS partners offer LionDesk? Right. So we have a lot of partnerships with MLS where you get it as part of your membership inside of the MLS. We have San Diego MLS, Sierra MLS, Michigan out in RealComp. We're actually launching RE Colorado on Monday. And so we've got a list. And so if you're not part of an MLS that offers LionDesk, reach out to our team, let us know, and we'll be in communication with them.
And what is the when it's provided through your MLS? I mean, is that limited functionality, or is it all different, or how does that work?
It's a starter package, right? And it really is. It allows you to basically say, I want to upload my contacts. I want to start categorizing my contacts. I want to start emailing my contacts, right? So getting the organization in the CRM done. And then if you want to do some of the advanced stuff like that text to sell code or some of the video stuff, right? Then it's just a small upgrade.
I see. Okay. And I guess another question here for you. How do I use LionDesk when I don't have any clients to date?
I don't believe it. Everybody knows somebody, right? You've got a phone. Inside of your phone, you've got to have contacts. You got this email from somebody. Just start putting your people in there that 5, 10, 20 people. You don't have to have 10,000. In fact, the average agent has a couple hundred contacts in their database. It's not a lot, right? And so start off small and just everybody you meet, just start putting them in your database.
Yeah. And the next one here is, what phone number shows when I send a text from LionDesk? Can you tie a Google Voice number to LionDesk?
The number that when you send a text from LionDesk goes from the one that you get from us, local area code, right? So, for example, we use LionDesk ourselves. It comes from, I think, a 954 number. But if you're living up in LA or Huntington Beach, you can get a 99. And then you can port a Google Voice number over, but we actually have to be the ones managing that number in order to send out and receive the text messages as well.
Right. So it has to, you have to tie that in, because there's some technology that allows all that information to go into LionDesk, right?
Correct. Yeah. So like for the drip campaigns to work, like we actually have to have that number so we can push everything out.
Makes sense. Does LionDesk connect to IDX websites?
We do. We connect with most of the top websites where you can, essentially, this is our model, right? You can pick the front end site that you want to use, have your website, for example, if you're using something like Union Street or Agent Fire or Agent Image or even a WordPress site that uses a backend Showcase IDX, all of that data can come into LionDesk, not just the leads. Website visits, saved searches, saved properties. You can see that on your dashboard. You can run a filter. Like I said, show me how many people have been on my site for the last 24 hours, right? And because of the low cost of both of those, you're saving a lot more money by combining the tools as if it were integrated all in one.
Right. Is there an option to add lead capture from Cloud CMA's What's My Homework landing page in LionDesk? I don't think we have that now, but that's definitely something we could add for sure. I can see that's a great use case. I'm glad for that question. That'll give us some good direction to go to.
Mm-hmm. I think we do have some clients that actually connected it, and they've shot over the email when they get from the.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Yeah. So email parsing. Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So, hi, David. Can you advertise the phone number that LionDesk is giving you? In other words, should that number also be listed on our business cards?
Yes, and yes. Advertise it everywhere, online, offline. Use the short codes, right? Because what you want to do is when somebody calls that LionDesk number, it's going to capture their name, right? The caller ID, the name, and also pull up any profile information through them and build that inside of LionDesk. And we call those call to sell leads.
Right. And so I imagine if you, because it's so tied in the technology, I mean, if they were to leave the business and wanted to kind of keep that number, can they do that? Or that doesn't sound like it's possible. You can. Oh, that's nice. That's great for you guys. Okay. Does LionDesk provide a lead capture website like Boomtown? Also the ability to do pay-per-click ads through the system?
We don't create websites like I mentioned earlier, right? We partner with some of the best in the industry because we want to do what we do best, right? And so that's part of it. We don't run pay-per-click, although we are going to be launching some Facebook integration inside of LionDesk very shortly, which will allow you to take your CRM data and build out these, what they're called custom audiences in Facebook in real time, because we have the data. As soon as your client comes in, you should be retargeting them. Like, we're not going to do a lot of the front end website work, right? We leave that to the experts. All we're trying to do is connect these systems together, and yeah, we'll have some more announcements on the Facebook side soon.
Cool. Can you set a home beat for a certain day, i.e. a closing anniversary? So the home beats start when you create them that day. You can't kind of go back in time, but for instance, if you sold the house and you go create a home beat for them right there, it'll start setting that on that anniversary day or month that you're doing. But as far as like going back in time and setting it for a particular day, not as of yet. It's all based upon when you create the home beat. Okay, so does home beat come free with Cloud CMA? Great question. So if you have paid for Cloud CMA directly, meaning it didn't come from your MLS, home beat is free with your Cloud CMA account. If you're receiving the MLS version of Cloud CMA, it does not include home beat. So that's a little bit of a difference there. But again, try it free. You can do it for 30 days and see if you like it. For David, does the system integrate with any social media platforms to help retarget leads back on those social media platforms?
Coming soon, very, very soon. We've been working on this thing for a while, and I don't want to, steal anybody's thunder on our team, but it's going to be pretty exciting and very unique, right? Because again, all of your data that you're getting is going into LionDesk, it's going into the CRM, and we want to, you to communicate with that client. Part of the communication is email, phone calls, text message, and social is a big part of it now. And so that's just another method of communication that we believe the CRM and LionDesk should handle.
Okay, next question. What's the difference between LionDesk and Sync CRM or Market Snapshot? I always hate these kind of questions because you don't want to tell anything bad about your competitors, but I mean, are there some key things you can highlight here, David?
Yeah, our initial price starts at $25 and goes up to $99. I think you're going to spend thousands on Commission Sync or Sync. It includes a lot, right, of the website side as well, which we don't offer. So like I said earlier, you can get, you can spend thousands on a website, or you can spend a couple $100 on a website and tie it in just as you have Sync. And Market Snapshot, we don't do inside of LionDesk as of yet, right? Those are more Greg's area in terms of like your property details and
yeah, that's almost a home beat kind of alternative, I guess, or home beat is a snapshot alternative. I mean, both. I mean, I've seen Market Snapshot. It's not bad. If you get LionDesk now, can it be updated when you release the upgrade?
Oh yeah, everything is always updated, and and we've got a fairly sizable team of developers that are working on upgrades constantly. And by the way, the new version of LionDesk is already out. So when you sign up, LionDesk Cloud CMA, you're going to be on the new version, right?
Cool. Does LionDesk support AI technology? Ooh, AI.
We do. We do. So we have a program called Lead Assist, or nicknamed Gabby, after our COO, Gabriella. So it'll actually, when a lead comes in right away, and this is part of the nurture problem, it'll follow up with that client. It uses a lot of machine learning because we're sending out, Greg, millions and millions of text messages from LionDesk on behalf of our clients.
Wow.
Receiving millions of text messages. And so it'll follow up over the course of a year. It misspells things. It gives emojis, thumbs up. It recognizes whether it's a veteran. I saw one conversation where a lady was writing back to the AI, to the bot, and it said, "Hey, I'm not actually looking to buy. I'm helping my sister. She's getting a divorce." It wrote back a couple minutes later, "I'm really sorry to hear that. We're going to make this as easy as possible for you," right? And so it's not a yes or no, better, bad thing. It's highly intelligent. It's getting better and better. And all of those data points, when it asks the questions, when are you looking? Are you pre-approved beds, baths? It takes each of those and puts them in separate fields inside of LionDesk custom fields so that it's searchable again at a later date.
Yeah. I always love this next kind of question. We get it at Cloud CMA a lot. Do you sell the client's info inputted onto LionDesk?
If I did that, I would not have a business.
Yeah.
So the answer is no, they're not my clients at all. I really don't care about them. Right? I mean, they're your clients, you work them, we want you to sell the clients, and we're not doing anything with them, right? We don't, anything other than like inside of LionDesk to make things better for you, but we've got nobody who has access to the data other than, somebody you get permission to.
It's really unfortunate because there's a lot of bigger companies that agents, it might even be their franchisors. I mean, I don't want to point any fingers that put this kind of fear out there, and all they're trying to do is kind of try to keep them to their system, right? Or, I mean, it's a bullshit question, really. But as vendors, we have to deal with that. I mean, but as David said, if we did something like that, we would be so out of business.
Yeah.
Of a close
Automatically, yeah.
All right.
Not yet, but we're working on it.
Right. I guess we've got time for a couple more. Can LionDesk and Cloud Agent Suite be used with HomeSnap or KW Command? I'll start this. So we talked to HomeSnap. They have a very limited CMA tool in there, and we're talking about them of like them using our API to kind of link it closer to HomeSnap. KW Command, again, most of that work has to happen from either HomeSnap or KW to. We have a full API we've had out since we launched the product about 10 years ago. So we have a ton of people, a ton of third-party applications, just like LionDesk, that have integrated Cloud CMA. But that work has to be initiated by the other vendors. So if you want to see more integration with your HomeSnap or KW Command, they can always go to cloudcma.com/developers with an S. And we have a public-facing website that shows how our API works and how they can get their application to work with Cloud CMA. And we have, like David said, I mean, we have some tech-savvy agents that have gone and used that API to make their own customized things. So totally have that. I'm sure you guys have something else too.
Yeah, we have a lot of clients integrating on the lead side, HomeSnap, and also Command has like an iteration of a CRM, but they got a lot of good stuff as well. But we have a ton of KW agents who use both, and they use LionDesk as kind of that central repository, and then KW for the transaction side, because I think they're required to enter it in.
Right. Does the new LionDesk support video well?
You bet. Video emails are part of the package, any package actually, right? So it's integrated. You don't have to pay extra for it. You can create a video email. You can update it or upload it. And it's all inside of the system. And like I mentioned before, it's easy to use and it's incredibly powerful as a differentiator.
Right. Okay, great. So thanks again, David, for joining us today. I really appreciate it. It's great to see companies like yours and that are open integration and doing these things. So please go to the chat. If you want to try out LionDesk, they got a great offer right now, liondesk.com/Cloud CMA. You can find out more about HomeBeat at cloudcma.com/HomeBeat. And you can try it for free there. Again, David, thank you so much for joining us, and I appreciate the time spent.
Always a good time, Craig. We appreciate it, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys, and thanks for joining us. And again, this is recorded, so you all get a link to this. And be safe out there. We appreciate your support. Thank you so much to everybody out there. Does somebody shut this off, or do I?